In November 1792, the French National Assembly threw down the gauntlet to Europe with a pair of extraordinary decrees. The first expressed an open-ended commitment to extend French military support to popular revolution anywhere. France, it announced, having liberated itself, will accord fraternity and assistance to all peoples who shall wish to recover their liberty. The National Assembly gave added weight to this decree and obliged itself to give it force in the proviso that the document be translated and printed in all languages. The National Assembly made the break with the 18th century order irrevocable by guillotining France's deposed king several weeks later. It also declared war on Austria and invaded the Netherlands. In December 1792, an even more radical decree was issued with an even more universal application. Any revolutionary movement that thought the decree applied to it was invited to fill in the blank of a document reading, "The French people to the people," which applauded in advance the next fraternal revolution and pledged support to the suppression of all the civil and military authorities which have governed you up to this day. This process, whose scope was implicitly limitless, was also irreversible. The French nation declares that it will treat as enemies the people who, refusing liberty and equality, or renouncing them, may wish to preserve, recall, or treat with the prince and the privileged castes. Rousseau had written that whoever refuses to obey the general will shall be forced to do so by the whole body. He will be forced to be free. The revolution undertook to expand this definition of legitimacy to all humanity. To achieve such vast and universal objectives, the leaders of the French Revolution strove to cleanse their country of all possibility of domestic opposition. The terror killed thousands of the former ruling classes and all suspected domestic opponents, even those who supported the revolution's goals while questioning some of its methods. 2 centuries later, comparable motivations underlay the Russian purges of the 1930s and the Chinese Cultural Revolution in the 1960s and 1970s. Eventually, order was restored, as it must be if a state is not to disintegrate. The model once again came from Rousseau's great legislator. Louis XIV had appropriated the state in the service of royal power. The revolution commandeered the people to underwrite its design. Napoleon, who proclaimed himself first consul for life, later emperor, represented a new type, the great man, swaying the world by the force of his will, legitimized by charismatic magnetism and personal success in military command. The essence of the great man was his refusal to acknowledge traditional limits and his insistence on reordering the world by his own authority. At the climactic moment of his coronation as emperor in 1804, Napoleon, unlike Charlemagne, refusing to be legitimized by a power other than his own, took the imperial crown from the Pope's hands and crowned himself emperor. The revolution no longer made the leader. The leader defined the revolution. As he tamed the revolution, Napoleon also made himself its guarantor. But he also saw himself, and not without reason, as the capstone of the Enlightenment. He rationalized France's system of government, establishing the system of prefectures through which, even at this writing, the French system of administration operates. He created the Napoleonic Code, on which the laws that still prevail in France and other European countries are based. He was tolerant of religious diversity and encouraged rationalism in government, with the end of improving the lot of the French people.